So, hello everyone. This is our little podcast video situation experiment that we have kind of created. Now we've all been put into the third lockdown. And really we just kind of want to use this time to engage with students and parents and careers leads in kind of our local area, and just kind of discuss some important topics. Obviously it's a difficult time for young people now, and we're fully aware of that, and we just want to have a bit of a ramble and a bit of a catch up as well, because we can't be in the office together like we normally would. So just to kind of introduce myself, and I suppose where we both work and things like that. So I am Jess, and I am one of the school liaison officers. I kind of work between Tyne Met College and South Tyneside College. And our job is usually going into schools and engaging with young people, which we obviously cannot do at the moment. And I will let Danielle introduce herself.
Yes, I'm obviously the other school liaison officer, also work across South Tyneside College and Tyne Met. Obviously similar to Jess, would normally be out in schools, sort of delivering sessions, happening on site in college, but unfortunately that's not something what we're able to do at the moment, so thought it'd be good to get you involved in our catch-up. So yeah, let's get started.
Amazing. So like I said, kind of this is going to be a bit of an informal chat, I think. It will be a little bit of a catch up for us, a bit of time to reminisce about the past year, and maybe some of our kind of experiences in going through school, college, sixth form and things like that. So this is going to be, we're hoping it will be a little bit of a series with kind of different episodes. We have come up with some plans, but as kind of the first episode, we're going to be focusing really on coping with lockdown. Obviously we're not experts, but we have lived through the past 3 lockdowns now. So we're going to be kind of exploring things like how to stay motivated, and kind of our top tips for remote working and things like that. And then at the end, we're also going to have a look at some of the top search things on Google in relation to kind of lockdown and how to deal with it. So if we kind of begin then with lockdown number 1, if we can cast our minds back to March 2020, how did you find that, Danielle?
I think for me, I had a great time, to be honest, the first one. I wasn't in this role at the time. So the previous job I was in, I was actually put on furlough. And obviously the weather was great. So I spent most of the time in the garden, doing different garden projects, exercising, just going for walks and things. So I do think I had a great time last time. I'd actually been away for a while before that, so it was a really nice time to catch up with like the family who I live with. So yeah, I did enjoy it, but I do feel a bit apprehensive that this one might not be the same with the weather as it is.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things, isn't it? The weather is so different, because I think, and I'm sure you were the same, like you said, doing gardening and things like that. So I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment when in the first lockdown, no balcony, no garden, and I just used to sit and stare at the other apartment block that had balconies, and so unbelievably jealous. But I think because now we can't go out for walks when it's absolutely chucking it down or even snowing, and I think that's kind of that's a big difference, isn't it, kind of between the first lockdown and the one we're in now.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we didn't actually know how good we had it the first lockdown.
I know.
I literally remember when the chip shop opened next door, and we went round and it first opened, and the woman was like, "Have you been on holiday?" Because me and my mum was so tanned. Like we literally spent months in the garden. We were like, "Of course we haven't been on holiday." Yeah. I have like distant memory.
Yeah, it is a very, very distant memory. So if we think then kind of specifically about kind of coping with lockdown, then I suppose, what were some kind of things that you maybe did in the first lockdown or even the second lockdown that you might be taking with you into the third one? Or were there things that you did that you absolutely won't be doing now? Or
I think for me, like last lockdown, I was very much like, have never had so much time off and at home with nothing to do. And I think for me, I was like, gotta keep busy, like don't want to become lazy, and knew that I'll get so carried away eating all the treats and whatever. So for me, I think I was really hard on myself in the first lockdown, and would always like make sure I was up and like out exercising by like 9 a.m. Would do it like every single day, routine, wouldn't miss it. Sometimes I would then like do a bit at night as well. And I think, and then between then, I would make like a little timetable of like what I was going to do in the day, which like looking back is ridiculous. And it would be like make dinner at 12 o'clock, like bake a cake, like honestly.
Down to like the like minute.
Yeah, and that's like really not me at all. I remember my family being like, "Are you okay?" Like, what's happening? But I think I was so obsessed with thinking like, I need to be productive, like we'll never have this much time again, like how can we fill it and like make the most of it?
Yeah.
And I think at the time, like it seemed like a good idea, but now I look back, I'm like, that's crazy, like didn't need to make myself that busy. And yeah, probably won't be going in the garden exercising anytime soon this lockdown.
No, I fully agree. I feel like I said, obviously I didn't have kind of the outdoor space in the first lockdown. So I was doing a lot of, I'm sure everyone was, but a lot of kind of like indoor activities. And I really went through the cycles with everyone. Like when we first went into lockdown, I remember getting into knitting and really trying to knit scarves, and failed miserably, but was determined to do it. I remember subscribing to Disney Plus, which I still subscribe to now, just out of habit. But like, I remember being absolutely buzzing when that came out. Doing jigsaw puzzles, like we were ordering jigsaws and definitely getting way too carried away with it, and thinking this is going to be our new favorite thing. I remember we completed one, and then I was like, that is enough for me. Like I fully went through the motions with everyone, I think. I definitely wasn't as organized, I don't think, as you were. I was well, I was also working from home, but I quite awkwardly started a new job as lockdown happened. So I'd handed in my notice at my previous job and then was about to start a new one, and then we went into lockdown. So I started and I was in that whole job during the lockdown period. Which
oh my God.
But I think because of that, obviously I was kind of working from home. I was trying to be in a routine, but there was only so much I could kind of do with that new job. I remember taking up running. I like would set myself goals and it was nice to achieve them, but then I was like, I actually don't enjoy running. I was just doing it.
Yeah, just forcing yourself.
Yeah, so I think that first lockdown, I think we were quite similar in that we just really tried to keep busy, which I think everyone did, and people probably still do. But I think I've maybe got out of that a little bit now. Now we're into the third. It's
funny when you realise, though, isn't it, that like you're doing things that you don't even enjoy. Like, yeah, I know I was like forcing myself to like read a book, even though I genuinely don't enjoy reading. Like I would like to enjoy reading, but I definitely don't enjoy it. So I was like forcing myself to read a book at night that like I had absolutely no interest in.
No interest in. Yeah,
it's when you realise you're doing it for no reason.
Like I know that there was like a book challenge thing that went round. I also was one of those people that would really get myself involved with, like, if I saw people on Instagram doing it, then I was like, well, I better make a cake as well. Or
that's what you need to do. Yeah, banana bread.
Banana bread, yeah. And I feel like I really did kind of go through the motions with everyone else in that first one. So we've just kind of touched on remote working and working from home. So obviously you mentioned that you didn't really work from home in the first one, but obviously you are now. So how did you kind of manage that in the first lockdown kind of compared to now?
I think obviously for me it's like very different because I was just in the office in my other job working as completely normal, and then as soon as lockdown happened we couldn't work anymore, so it was like you just didn't go to work, whereas now it's like we're still working but you can't go in the office. So for me it's like obviously something we got used to like gradually over the last months, doing like bits and pieces of working from home. But it is so different for me because I think last lockdown, my parents were like off as well, so everybody was in the house. And now this time, they're at work, so it doesn't quite feel the same like in my head as what previous lockdown has.
Yeah.
But like we've got my like niece here who's working from home for her like her school work, so we're both sat doing our own meetings and our own work in the house. But I think it's just sort of getting used to that, isn't it? I know a lot of people like yourself have probably learned from last time like what worked and what didn't work, and where in your house you want to be, like where's the best Wi-Fi signal, like what's the quietest. Like I was sat in the conservatory before it started hailstoning, and I was like, I can't hear a single thing.
Not ideal.
What about you then? Have you learned stuff from like last lockdown, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, obviously in that first lockdown, I started a new job, and it was bizarre, really, kind of starting a new role, trying to meet my team virtually. I never met any of them face to face, which was really weird. And then also kind of doing training and things like that. And I think for me in the first lockdown, the most important thing that I did was still waking up on time. And this is that's something that I still do now. But I think it's so easy to fall into the trap of, well, I'm working from home, so I don't really need to be up until I've got this first meeting or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I definitely had moments of that. In my previous role, in kind of the second lockdown, I think it was it the first one? Don't know. But
all of
one. But I think just getting up on time, being ready, being dressed, I think definitely motivated me. And I know that's really cliche about getting dressed, and don't get me wrong as well, I've worn so much loungewear and lived in pajamas some days, but I think just trying to be motivated from kind of the outset in the morning was really important, and that's something I've carried through. But also I think taking breaks like during work time is also fine. We were talking about this in the office the other day, but we were saying, I don't know what it is about being at home, but I almost feel like I can't step away from the laptop, even though at work in the office I'd get up and make a cuppa, or maybe nip out and grab some lunch or something, but in my head I'm like, I need to be at the laptop the whole time.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, totally. Because you're thinking, oh God, like, is it time for a break? Like, how long have I been making the coffee? Like, you totally overthink it.
Like, do I deserve one? Like, have I done enough work to warrant having my third cup of coffee today?
Absolutely. I think you're so much more aware of things, aren't you? Because I know when we're in the office, it'll be like, oh, do you want a coffee? And you could have like so many through the day and not even know how many you've had.
Yeah.
But at home you're just so aware of like everything, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think that again though, I think it's just kind of remembering that that's all right. you can have a toilet break. It is fun. But so if we're kind of thinking then in terms of maybe some tips for people watching, so obviously this could be for if you're a young person yourself, so you might have now been plunged into home working again, and kind of thinking about how you're going to do that, or it might be that you're a parent or careers lead, trying to kind of help motivate the young people in your life and help them and support them in this time. So I just thought maybe we could share kind of a couple of tips, kind of our top tips, I suppose. So I think one of my biggest ones, and I'm very guilty of not following my own tips here, but is putting your phone away. And I know that isn't easy, but I think I'm definitely my most productive when I don't have my phone near me, because I'm the worst for thinking, I'll just check an email, and then I've been on TikTok for 45 minutes and I'm like,
absolutely,
like, what am I doing?
Totally agree. I feel like it's like that though with anything, isn't it? Like, when you're trying to do something in the house, not even at work, and you're like, oh, I'll just scroll through one more, I'll just have like 2 more minutes scrolling through Instagram, and then you're like, an hour's passed.
And then you're like, what have I just done for the last hour? So I think That's definitely a big one. I think even if you do it in kind of mini like sections and say, okay, for this period of time, I'm going to put my phone away and then I'll have a little time to look at it. I suppose that kind of goes on to my next tip, which I'd say is to allow yourself breaks. So it's kind of what I was talking about before. But with homeschooling and kind of working from home, I know that different schools do it differently. I know obviously I've got a younger sister and she's at home. I know you were saying for your niece that she's doing actual lessons, isn't she? I think.
Yeah, she's doing like Zoom lessons.
Yeah, whereas my sister is kind of set her work and then she just cracks on with it throughout the day and then finishes when she's done. But I think kind of however you're doing it, it's really important to just take some regular breaks. Like it's fine to sit and have 15 minutes to scroll through your phone, or catch up with your friends as well. Like you're obviously not seeing them as much as you would be. So don't kind of, be too hard on yourself if you do want to have a sit and have a minute to kind of enjoy just not being focused. Because I don't know about you, but I think focusing when you're on the computer is just so much different, so different to being in a classroom or in an office or something like that. So I feel like you have to really focus. Like
I know, and I think it's so silent, isn't it, when you're in the office and there's other people like coming in and out and whatever. It's like background noise and other things happening. But when you realise you just sat in the same room, just you and your computer for however long. Definitely. I know we were like, I was sort of saying to Ellie before, like your normal breaks that you'd have in your timetable, normally you would spend that with your friends, wouldn't you? And you'd be out like having your break, having a snack, like a chat, whatever, same with lunch. So I was saying like just FaceTime your friends, do you know what I mean? Like your break, talk about the last lesson that you've just had, like, you know, what was funny, like whatever, because she was like telling me all these things that had happened on the Zoom lesson, and I was like, go and like tell your friends, do what you would normally do. But you just forget, don't you, I suppose, like, and get out of the habit of it. So I think that's a good one, taking a break and sort of keeping in touch.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have kind of any of tips?
I think for me it's probably just a case of like, don't be too hard on yourself. Like that's definitely what I've learned from the first lockdown. Like thinking back, there was absolutely no need for me to be up and ready in the garden doing a hip session by 9 a.m. when I had the whole day of doing absolutely nothing else. So like, don't be too hard on yourself. Like you don't need a strict timetable from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed. Like most schools are advising, stick to your normal like school timetable in terms of lesson times, and I think that's really, really important. But like you were saying before, you know, get up at the same time you would for school, like have your breakfast, you know, get dressed, like you don't have to be uniform obviously, but just get dressed and feel ready, because it'll put you in a good headspace. But like if you have those days where you wake up totally fed up and like sick of the world, like it's okay to stay in your jammies and the odd day, like have a pajama day, do your lessons in your loungewear or whatever. It's okay to have those days, I think, is what we all need to know, because I think if you can't get that cycle of being too hard on yourself, can't you, and you just think, actually, why am I even doing this? I think that's probably one of my main ones. But I think with that, it would just be a case as well of like, everyone has off days, everyone has days that are hard, and you just think, oh, what's even happening? And that's okay. And I think it's really important to know that, you know, you can ask for help and you can ask for support, whether it be like the people you live with, and, you know, you're struggling with, you know, the house, and that can be a lot with your parents, your siblings or whatever running around. But also like teachers, if you know you're struggling with online lessons, it's not a normal way to learn, and it can be really hard not being around other people. So you know that your teachers are there, you sort of speak out to them if you need to. And obviously we're here, so if anyone needs any career guidance, or if you just absolutely don't know what you're going to do after year 11, or we both love a chat, so do just get in touch. We can put our contact details on at the end. And I think obviously, like, you know, you might be struggling a little bit more than that, and it might be more than just the odd day, or it might be something a little bit more serious. So again, we'll put the details at the end as well if there's anyone that you might need to talk to. So yeah, I think make sure you ask for help if you need it, and don't be too hard on yourself.
Fab. I think those are really good tips, and I like fully agree as well. And yeah, we do absolutely love a chat, so please get in contact. I think we're quite lonely this year. I think it's been a weird one. So to kind of end on then, I know we said at the beginning we're going to try and do this, I think, each episode, but looking at the kind of most Googled kind of questions surrounding each topic for each week. So obviously this week we're looking at
ones on there.
Fully had to cut some of them out. So for this one, obviously we're looking at lockdown, kind of coping with lockdown and things like that. So I've kind of got the top 3, like I said, may have omitted a couple here and there that maybe were not appropriate, but I think it might be a good way to kind of look at some questions maybe that young people are thinking about and asking. It might not even be young people, it might be parents and things as well, but hopefully we can kind of offer some guidance or advice around these topics. So the first one then is coping with lockdown boredom. So how would you say that you have coped with lockdown boredom?
I definitely have some tips for that if anyone needs time to. I think for me, like, boredom is a big one, isn't it? Like, sometimes you don't even know that you're bored and you're just in a bad mood because you literally did nothing. I don't know, I would say think about things that you enjoy or something that you wouldn't normally do. I think is a good time to like actually get your mind going. It might be something like physical, maybe learning like, I don't know, new football skills. I know I started skipping last lockdown. I was like learning how to do all these different things. Like, but yeah, I think of things that you enjoy or something that you want to get into. And yeah, like use this time to do that, I think, because and it could be anything, like, you know, some people don't like exercising, and that's fine. Like, you know, watch a series you would never normally watch, read a book. We were trying to do like you know, when you go on a holiday and they fold towels on your bed, like animals. Well, we attempted that. So I think literally you could do anything, can't you? Like, try something new, get the whole family involved or whoever you live with. Like,
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. I think, in terms of boredom, I think it is inevitable really when someone tells you have to stay inside. So I think you're definitely not alone if you're feeling bored. And like Danielle mentioned, I think like when you have that moment where you're like, God, I'm in such a bad mood. Like, why am I in a bad mood? Probably because you're bored. So I think for me, playing cards has been a big one. I play cards all the time anyway. Like, I love playing cards. I love playing rummy. That's my favorite game. And it's just like, and making it really competitive. I'm a very competitive person, so I like there to be stakes involved. I want there to be a prize for the winner and everything like that. But I think that's really helpful, saying like, show you a game of cards, and that kind of eats up some time. And also, I know we kind of mentioned at the beginning, like going for walks and things like that, obviously in this weather, in this lockdown, is not ideal, but I try and see it as a bit of an adventure. And we recently got a new puppy as well, so we've been taking her out for walks, but just like wrapping up and just getting out, even if it's for a 10-minute walk around the block, I think can be useful. And then I almost feel like I've earned being inside. No, sounds really ridiculous, but like in my head I'm like, well, I've been out, so I've been out,
so now you can be in.
Now I can be in.
Definitely. I think that's a good one though. Like, you've got a new pet, like now you can spend your time training to do like new things.
Honestly, insane tricks. She's going to be in Crofts. I can see it.
Exactly. Even if you've got an old dog, like, definitely.
I know. It is great. Having pets has really, really helped. Definitely.
Maybe that's what we need in our house, then, a new pet.
Yes, everyone just go out and buy new pets. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Top tip.
Yeah, absolutely do not
Everyone
do that.
needs a pet.
Okay, so if we move on then, so the next one was coping with lockdown loneliness. So how do you think you have coped with that, or will cope with that?
I think everyone's in such different positions, aren't they? I think, like,
Yeah.
God, us in this house, you never get a minute to yourself. So like in our house, I think we almost wish we were like lonely. So like just on top of each other all the time. But I think like loneliness isn't just that, is it? In terms of like, you know, living on your own, it's a case of like we were saying before, not seeing your friends. Like how hard is it even for us to not see our friends when, you know, you can easily FaceTime them or ring them, or, you know, you might live like over the road from someone.
Yeah.
And I think it's like making sure that you keep that going, because it's probably a bit like boredom. Do you even know that you're lonely until you actually think about it?
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to, you know, like get stuff, you know, go into your room and like relaxing for a bit, and that's great. Everybody needs that, but just don't get too stuck into it. I think of being like in your room all night just watching Netflix, because actually after a while that becomes a routine that you get into, and then you realize you're not even speaking to anyone in your house or whatever. So I think make sure, you know, you keep up like family time, like you say, like playing cards, or whoever you live with, you can make like definitely leaderboard or something for some
Yeah.
games. But I would definitely say, which I've been saying earlier, you know, on your break times and your lunch times at school or after school, like face friends like you normally would. That's a normal school day, isn't it? So keep in touch with them. You know, like play daft games. But yeah, just keep in touch with people, and it doesn't have to be online, does it?
Oh, yeah.
I know when we were in the garden over summer, the neighbour kept like putting a puppy above the fence, like show them the puppies. So like, you know, speak to who you can.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think as you said, like I think sometimes you maybe don't realise that you're feeling lonely. Like obviously in the first lockdown, I was kind of living with my partner, and it was just us two in a 1-bedroom flat. And then in this lockdown, we now live with my parents. So now like 5 people in a house and 2 dogs, and it is a whole different situation to kind of first lockdown. So I'm not lonely in the sense of that, but I also haven't seen my nan and granddad in nearly a year, and like some of my best friends I haven't seen in nearly a year. And like just before New Year's, I was writing out kind of cards. We were doing our annual Secret Santa swap with my friends. I remember just being really emotional and being like, God, like I really miss them. And like, and I think I'd managed to almost like suppress missing them for a while. And then it all just hit me, and I was like, oh, like I'm not lonely in the sense of like every day kind of lonely, but I am in the sense that there are some like key relationships in my life that
definitely.
haven't been
It's when you think about it, isn't it? You sit down and actually think about something. But I think I felt the same over Christmas. Like there's things that me and my friends would do every single year that, or like relatives that aren't necessarily like your parents, they're like your cousins or whatever, and you think, when did I even last see them? Like we haven't had a Christmas get together. Like I think especially this time, it's made everyone realize like how long it has been since you've like seen some people.
Definitely. I think I think in terms of kind of coping with it, like you said, kind of FaceTime, Zoom is great. Just kind of having like virtual conversations is really, really useful. I think as well, like a physical letter is nice. It's nice to receive something in the post as well. I know with my friends, we've sent each other letters and stuff, especially in the first lockdown we did. And I think it's nice when you randomly receive something in the post and you're like, oh, I never get post. So I think that's quite easy to do if you can. But otherwise just kind of keeping in touch with them in all of your kind of usual ways, and I think that does really help, particularly if you're really feeling lonely. Give someone a ring. But yeah, so that would kind of be my advice with that. And then
I think that's a good one, and I think with that, like you might not be feeling lonely, but whoever you get in touch with might be. So it's maybe worth bearing that in mind as well. Like when you think of, obviously everyone thinks, oh, grandma and granddad are probably like really lonely at the minute, and you know, give them a call, it'll probably make the day. But that also probably works with your friend. Do you know what I mean? Ring them. Or I know we used to send last lockdown like postcards. You can get those apps where you put a photo on. And we used to like pick a photo from something that we've been like doing over like years ago or something, and like sort of reminisce over that a bit. But like you say, it's a surprise when it comes and you're like, oh, what is it? And then it like just knowing that someone else is thinking about you, I guess, is like a big thing, isn't it? So yeah, even if you're not doing it because you're only yourself, someone you know might be. So
yeah, fully agree. So then if we move on to the third one, which I thought was hilarious, but coping with lockdown quizzes. So I'm sure many of us have kind of done a lockdown quiz at some point this year or last year. Now we're in 2020, but it's 2021.
You're still stuck there.
But yeah, I think kind of we've all probably been subject to at least one Zoom quiz or FaceTime quiz or something. So yeah, coping with them. I think the key is don't have too many of them. There was one point, honestly, I was doing one with my group of friends from home, so from school. I was doing one with my work friends. I was doing one with my family. I was doing one with my partner's family. And it ended up, I was doing like 4 quizzes a week. And I was like, at some point, this has got to give. I was like, it becomes not fun anymore.
No, I totally agree. I think, like, honestly, don't have any general knowledge at all. Like, I can hands down say I did not enjoy a single quiz, I don't think. And I got to the point with my friends where I was like, I'm not actually having a good time anymore. And I was like, I'm going to make quizzes. So then I made this quiz that was literally just about me. Like, what year did Danielle do this? Because I was like, I know the answer.
I love that. I did the same. We each did a quiz about ourselves, like in my group of friends back at home, and it was really good to see who actually pays attention to your life. Like, are you a good friend or not?
Definitely. And I was like going around the house and like pitch around of like zooming in things in my house. Like, what is this?
That's so clever. Yeah,
it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. Nobody got any of them really.
We did a round where we kind of had a piece of paper on the floor with 2 options and both had a bit of cheese on, and then letting the dog go for them, and everyone had to guess which she was going to go for, and it was amazing. Like, it was just so ridiculous, but that's kind of where we got to with Zoom. We have to really think outside the box. But yeah, so I think in terms of coping with them, I feel like just don't burn yourself out. It's fine to say no as well, I think, is a really good point. Like, it's fine to say I don't fancy doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was difficult though, I found, because you couldn't have the excuse if I'm busy, because everyone knew
you've got no excuse. Like, what can you say you're doing?
No.
Scheduled in my one walk, so for the exact time.
Sorry, I'm actually going to do my hour of exercise at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night. Not available. But yeah, so I think that's probably just don't burn yourself out because they don't become fun then. But yeah, I think that's kind of it wrapped up.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, like, think about our top tips, like think about how you experienced last lockdown, learn from it, I think, is what you have to do. Don't burn yourself out, just sort of cope with what we've got and manage it as best you can. But as I mentioned earlier, you know, it's really important to ask for any help that you might need, and we are always here. If it's careers help or anything like after year 11, you know, any support that we can give right now, literally any question. If we don't know, we've got plenty of time to find out.
Very true.
So if you want to contact us, obviously we'll pop our details on after this, along with contact details for any other organisation that might be able to help you with whatever it might be that you're struggling with at the moment.
And obviously, as we mentioned, this is hopefully going to be part of a series of some sort. So we're going to have a look at kind of other topics. If there is anything that you can think of that might be beneficial for you yourself to know, or for us to discuss, or maybe if you work with students and you think of a topic that might be useful, and then please just let us know as well, because we're really interested to kind of find out what you guys think, and if there's anything else that we can kind of help with, then we really want to. So so just get in touch. But yeah, thanks very much for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you soon, Jess.
See you later.